peep the new background. We're in vacation mode all the way out here in Vietnam, you guys. I'm so excited. Like, my summer vacation basically just kind of started, and I left Toronto, gonna be in Vietnam, also going to Korea in June as well. So very exciting plans, but at the same time, I hope to focus more on YouTube, and I kind of want to challenge myself to maybe even post 2 times a week on some weeks. But anyway, today I actually have the big three, the ultimate big three audition tutorial guide, you could almost call it as, here with me today. So not only am I going to be sharing the audition tutorials for the big three companies, SM, YG, and JYP, I'm also going to be sprinkling in some tips that are very specific to the companies, as well as sharing other auditions that they have going on. So hopefully this is very resourceful for you guys who are thinking about auditioning for the big three companies. And I really want to make this series for other companies as well, maybe even do one on all the Hybe labels. So even if you've watched my old videos and my old audition tutorials, I still recommend sticking around, and hopefully you can get a couple of tips here and there. So let's begin with SM Entertainment. So I do have a full video on honestly all three of these companies that kind of goes about explaining what they look for in their auditionees and what they're exactly looking for. But some quick fire tips that I think are the main points of that is, number one, they do prefer vocals over dance. But at the same time, for the dance category, they also really care about freestyle, because they want you to freestyle to really like assess your potential in dancing. So if you are auditioning for SM Entertainment, I do highly recommend that you choose the vocal category, but at the same time prepare a freestyle, or prepare to freestyle, practice that as well. This one I talk about all the time, but it is about having a clean slate. They really care about you having a clean slate, which means you have very clean style, you have very precise moves, and you haven't really like developed your true style yet. And that honestly is really important for SM. So make sure you choose a song choice where it isn't necessarily showcasing a very strict side of a concept where you can't really showcase versatility. Overall, I recommend having a softer style with you, so that might mean like wearing lighter colors, something like white, or maybe pastel tones, something a little bit more bright. And then when you're choosing song choices, similarly, you want to go with more of a softer song choice. So like maybe that's something more upbeat with a fun concept, or something that's also at the same time like emotional, mellow, like a ballad song, as SM also really likes that. Now, as for their audition, they do have an online global audition going on, but apart from that, they also have a bunch of other ones like their Tag SM, DMSM that are ongoing, and they also have had their SM Global audition. They also have their weekly audition that takes place every single week in Korea, and then the other auditions are not really for a global audience, but for specific audiences like Thailand and Japan, so probably not too relevant for you guys. But we'll be going over the email and online audition. So it says talented individuals who cannot participate in auditions can send their profiles to SM casting directors. Send your profile via email and attach your video file or music file with photos, face shots, and full body shots. So that goes for the email aspect of it. Let's go over the online portion of the audition. So search up SM Entertainment on Google and click onto their website. From here, it leads you to their audition page, and the email and homepage audition is what we're looking at, but you can actually also look at the other auditions that they have going on. I highly recommend you do, but this is the focus of today's video. Make sure you change the language to English, and they actually have two options, email and online. Now, it doesn't really matter which audition you do. I mean, I'll just go for the online one because I find it a little bit easier, and it also follows a set format. The reason why they have to is because, you know, if the online one doesn't work, you can try the email, vice versa. So don't do both, because that is just annoying for them. So click onto the audition type, which is anytime, and also the country that you're from, residing in, your nationality. If you are not from any of these countries, obviously click onto other countries. Write down your name, your gender, email, cellular phone, your photos and videos, and also the privacy form. Now for photos and videos, it does tell you exactly what format you should have it in right here, so be sure to follow that. It also tells you to do a face shot and full body shot for the photos, and then click on to submit. Amazing. So the next company is obviously JIP Entertainment. So this is the video for JIP Entertainment that goes over every single thing. But quick fire tips for them is to really have stage presence. I think stage presence is like the most important category, you could almost say, when it comes to JYP Entertainment. But also they really do care about their well-roundedness. So if you were to ask me which category they look for the most in terms of vocal, dance, rap, I really could not tell you because they look for all three of them pretty equally. Kind of related to that is to showcase your personality. Whether that's showcasing like a really positive, friendly, like genuine girl next door kind of vibe, or just really being out there, that's up to you. That just kind of depends on like which side you lean more towards on a day-to-day basis and which fits with your identity better, you could say. But if you guys watched 16, which is the show that created Twice, I'm sure you guys know of, you can see that a lot of their like auditions were really out there. Like Sana was out there just showcasing her personality, making spring rolls. Taehyun was like honestly a little out there, like not very conventional for an artist to be dancing like an eagle, for example. So don't be afraid to show your true personality. If you have kind of like more of a louder personality that's very visible to others, I think JYP is very much so the company for you. And the last tip for them is to showcase a very clean execution. When you're dancing, for example, you really want to be precise with your moves. And even if this might be like a simpler choreography, just make sure that you can showcase your potential and being very precise and clear with your moves. Same thing goes for singing. Do not try to add like stylistic elements. Okay, so for their audition, it's kind of divided into online, which is what we'll be covering today, and then offline. For the offline ones, they specifically showcase which ones are open right now. You can see on their website. But as for their online audition, there are no restrictions on age, gender, or nationality, and the categories that you can audition for are singing, dancing, rapping, acting, and modeling. Okay, so let's get into that. Same thing with JYP Entertainment. We're going to search up JYP Ent and then head on to their website. Now click onto the three lines here and the bottom audition page. Let's change the language to English firstly and click on to apply. But actually before that, you can see there's two versions, online and offline. For the offline one, they actually have no ongoing auditions. You can see that from the font here, like it's all kind of grayed out instead of the original black font. But that's not the point of today's video. That is the online audition. This is the requirements that they ask you for. Click on to apply. Now there are two options. For the Korean one, you do have to have an active Korean phone number. They do make you do like a verification with your phone number. So obviously click on to non-Korean if you're not from Korea, and then write down your name, your email. You will have to do an email verification with this, your password, and then confirm the password. This just creates an account for you. So if you have an email already that you've been using for your previous auditions, you can log back in and actually check your old auditions out in the My Audition tab. Click onto your nationality, your year of birth, gender, height and weight, your phone number, your social media ID. I highly recommend that you have KakaoTalk as one of them, as per usual. You can include 3 photos, your audio and video files, and a self-introduction. So include your experience, hobby, specialty, what makes you stand out. Read through all the agreement forms and then click on to apply. Moving on to the last company, which is YG Entertainment. Here's the video for them. But some quick fire tips for YG Entertainment is going to be your aura. Your aura is so important. So what does this mean? It really means that you need to have like a star-like presence from the start. Act like you've already been invited to Coachella to perform, and then the next week you've got an invite to New York Fashion Week with a sponsor from Gucci. Like, you know what I mean? Make sure you already have that, oh, I'm that girl kind of energy and that aura out there. And you might even see from, you know, pre-debut videos, I don't know, let's say like Jennie, Rose, Lisa, like they already look like they're idols, you know, like they don't look like trainees. That's the energy that you need and want to have in your audition from day one. And YG, I would say, contrasts quite a bit with SM. Whereas like SM's really looking for like a potential, like a clean slate, YG is already looking for a developed style. If they can see like, oh, this girl has like that star-like energy aura in you, like that's exactly what they want to recognize in their auditionees. So you can't just have like clean moves with potential. You really need that feeling, like that groove, the sense of rhythm in any category that you pick. So for your song choice, I highly recommend choosing very specific styles. So this might be like an R&B song, like a hip-hop song, song, or maybe like a pop song with a very specific stage presence that you would like to showcase, be very deliberate in your song choices, honestly, for all three of these companies. But for YG, I feel like you have to curate that even more. So for the big three, just because they have very developed styles already, it's probably not a good idea to send the same exact video, the same exact song choice to all three of the companies. But I guess when I say like batch film videos, that's more so for like the smaller companies that you audition for, where they do not really have like a developed style yet that they're looking for exactly. Now for their online audition, the categories that you can do are vocal, rap, dance. It's for any gender, but you do have to be born between 1923 to 2023. So if you're not in that range, I'm so sorry, girl, you can't audition. And it also says that the applicant restricted period is monthly, and the maximum number of apply times in one period is once, which basically means you can only apply once a month and no more, no less. I mean, you could do like less than that, it's just up to you, but I don't recommend submitting an audition every single month unless you've significantly improved. So those are the qualifications for the YG online audition. Let's get to the tutorial part of it. Lastly, for YG, it's best to search up YG Audition. That way it just gets you to this exact form faster, and click on to apply. So right here as well, and then apply, and they will make you do an email verification. So just put the code in once you get that email from. It'll open up this form afterwards, and what's unique about YG Entertainment is that you can actually do 2 choices of categories if you would like. I personally recommend just doing one unless you are very well-rounded, and that is definitely something you want to showcase. Your name and gender, your date of birth, your height and weight, your nationality, and then you also have to pick whether you are currently residing in or outside of South Korea. Your email, but we already verified that, so you don't really need to put that in. Your phone number, your address, your occupation, and then, oh my gosh, this one's so important, guys, but your blood type. Duh. Okay, and then your available languages. It says mother tongue exclusion. So let's say Korean is your first language, like your mother tongue. Then you need to exclude that and only talk about the other languages that you're fluent in. So for me, that would be English at a native level, although sometimes it doesn't feel like that. No, just kidding. And then like another language, like I speak French, and my level of French would be fluent, but not native. So just keep that in mind. And then also include your hobby and specialty, so piano, modern dance, things like that. Your experience, please write down any related experiences such as dance competitions, TV shows, modeling, training experiences in other companies. And then put your SNS, which is your social media. Put your profile photos. They ask you for a front face, an upper body, and then a full body. And then attach those 3 photos. And also your videos, you can do 2 depending on whether you chose 1 category or 2 categories. And then read through this and click on to submit. You can even preview it to check if there are any mistakes. So that is wrapping up all of the big 3 companies. Hopefully this helped and kind of gave you like a good look into what the big 3 companies look for. I think it's good to compare and contrast some of these. It is helpful for recognizing what the companies are looking for. I would really like to do the same for Hybe labels, so let me know if that's something that you guys want as well. And if not Hybe, like what other companies would you like to see? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!